the ages and virtually every culture, there is a secret realm that enchants the human race.
There is this dark side of history, this dark history that streams alongside of normal history.
Seers and psychics, healers and preachers toil in this place searching for answers to our most profound questions about life and death.
The concept of the paranormal really is tremendously important for our species because that's how we have evolved, of thinking there's something more.
In the 21st century, the believers boast, the skeptics scoff, and all the while, the magic continues.
For those who believe in the arts, no proof is necessary, and for those who don't believe, no proof is sufficient.
Mystery is the rule when we plunge into the world we know as the paranormal. No one knows what terrified Tracy Livingstone the night she spent in this Scottish castle.
I was fast asleep, and then I woke up with the most horrendous crashing noise right beside the bed, as if somebody had taken a piece of furniture like a grand piano and threw it with extreme force. You watch these horror movies and you think, oh, that doesn't actually happen in real life, these things can't happen, but it did. And at that point I thought, oh, there's something going on here that's not normal. And I was really, really scared.
A young couple awakened by devilish noises in the night.
Alex said, oh, we're okay as long as the lights don't go out and the TV doesn't go off. And at that point the lights went out and the television went off. That was it. You know, the two of us were clinging to each other. He was literally wrapped around me, shaking. The noises continued all the way through the night. It was just absolutely terrifying because you could feel something in the room. You just don't want to open your eyes because you know you're going to see something you don't actually want to see. So when we actually went home after that, you know, I was terrified. I mean, I'm 28 years old and I spent that night in my bed with my mum. I was clinging on to her. You know, I was scared because I didn't know what it was. That's the whole point, the unknown.
Scotland is awash in ghost stories. Houses, pubs, and castles all over the country are said to be home to spirits. In fact, there are so many reported hauntings these days that ghost hunting clubs have been organized in dozens of countries.
The evidence that I am receiving on a week-to-week basis is moving in one steady direction, that the psychic world does exist.
Tracy's desire to know what happened to her led her to this man. Archie Laurie is a ghost hunter.
I suppose the colloquial term for people like myself are ghostbusters. Nobody in my society wants to bust a ghost. They've got enough problems without us busting them.
He's been at it for years.
I meet between 50 and 90 families per year who have something in their home. Hello again, David. Nice to see you once more.
Laurie is the man to see about wayward spirits in eastern Scotland.
Well, it all started with flashing lights on the roof.
Yep.
He and his psychic sidekick, Francis Ryan, make dozens of house calls annually.
Some people think that we're going to arrive with a van and ghost-busting guns and ghost-sucking vacuum cleaners and things of that nature, when in fact we're just going to go on the first occasion and to have a nice chat with them over a cup of coffee. The other possibility is that it's something of an electrical state that is set up by the rock structure that lies below this house.
He believes that spirits linger longer when the circumstances of their death are traumatic.
You can help these entities because many of them seem to be trapped in a world that they really no longer belong to. And indeed some of them, a lot of them, don't even know that they're dead. And it's a very strange thing to be saying, but we know from things that have happened that they do not know that they're dead. So the first thing you do is you realise you're dead. I know it sounds stupid, but that's the name of the game.
Archie is busy, going out night and day, seeking answers for clients who report unexplainable events. This attic is reported to be haunted by the ghost of a man who hung himself 50 years ago. On this visit, Archie and Francis encounter just the type of thing they seek. In the dark, cramped space, a ghostly breeze wafts by.
Man on the... Oh, I'm feeling the cold now.
You're feeling the cold?
Yeah, just there, just there.
Just came right past.
Yeah, just came right past me. Absolutely.
It is, he insists, not the realm of the kooky, but rather the spooky. And there's no question that Tracy was spooked.
And it's been petrified because you can't explain what's happening. There's no logical explanation, and I think being a human person you're always trying to rationalise things and get an answer for it. But there was no answer for it, so that's why I'm apprehensive, because I don't know what it was that happened.
Thanks for coming out, folks, in this weather.
That is why Archie has come to the very castle where Tracy spent that dreaded night. He and his team have come to discern what, if anything, Tracy and her friend experienced, and if it was truly paranormal, defined as that which is beyond normal.
The society to which I belong is a scientific society, so we really don't make wild guesses. We look at the facts as best we can. It's very difficult to look at psychic facts sometimes, and then upon those facts we can deduce what we think might have happened. It's a very imprecise science, but unless somebody begins somewhere, nobody's going to know anything.
Team members split up into pairs throughout the castle. In darkness, members stand watch for an hour in each room. Throughout the night, they rotate positions, measuring temperatures, noting noises, and recording other oddities.
Yes.
I think, Francis, you should sit with your back to the door. Right. I think that might be very interesting.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, thank you. It's just a kind of mist there.
There's a mist between us, is there?
Yeah.
Are you in contact with Elizabeth at the moment?
I see her.
You see her. Would you ask her if she can tell us who the king or the queen was?
Critics might say Archie Laurie is insane.
She remembers a man with a wig.
A long wig? A man with a long wig.
Others would say he's brilliant. Why does one dismiss as quackery what another embraces as fact?
Maybe we'll just leave her be just now.
Human history has the answer.
If you look in the 50-year-old dictionary, you'll find words like magic or superstition or occult, which is historically a very interesting word because it suggests to us that there is this dark side of history, this dark history that streams alongside of normal history. Well, there were all kinds of magical beliefs or paranormal beliefs going back to ancient times.
In the 17th century, the Age of Enlightenment confronted the magical beliefs, our dark history. A revolution of rational thinking swept through the ranks of the elite in Europe, led by René Descartes.
Philosophers and thinkers like Descartes in France began to propose the view that the material world operates within itself, quite separate from any human interaction. Here is the real polar difference between science and the paranormal. For in paranormal, one advocates that it's the interaction between matter and self that matters.
Science dictates that coincidence prevails over prayer. In the rational view, human rituals ceased to have an effect on the world we live in. Yet science has not provided all the answers to the ways of the universe, leaving room for things like the supernatural. Researcher Michael Persinger has devoted his career to exploring and understanding the paranormal from a scientific view.
Science is the pursuit of the unknown, really. I wanted to push the envelope, and the envelope was and still is the paranormal.
Another retractor, please.
Throughout the world, some humans, after surviving clinical death, report strikingly similar sensations.
Pressure's dropping. Grab the paddle.
Bright white light, speeding through tunnels,
200 again.
floating above their body, euphoria, blissfulness, a sensed presence of deceased loved ones bearing messages.
Clear. Discharge. Charge to 200 again. Clear. Discharge.
These experiential similarities lead many to believe that near-death experiences, or NDEs, prove there is a life beyond the one currently being
5,
lived.
6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and 13, and 14, and 15. Effie's in. He's back.
That belief is being scrutinized by scientists in Canada.
Our research, experimentally, was to imitate the essence of the paranormal within the laboratory.
He is pursuing the near-death experience.
Okay, Jamie, I'm going to put 3 electrodes on your hand, and then I'll be placing 6 of them on your head. 2 will be on the forehead, 2 above the ear, and 2 in the back. And
The subjective experiences, the feelings of leaving your body, the feelings of contact with sentient beings, with other beings, the feelings of being somewhere else.
Persinger questions the assumption that near-death experiences confirm an afterlife.
Does that feel okay?
Yep.
Right, Jamie, putting the helmet on. Let me know if I hurt your ears, okay?
While it is a decidedly low-tech looking rig, some interesting results are being found.
And place them over your eyes so that they feel comfortable and that it's dark. Okay, you can let go of the left side. And now the right. How's that feel?
Good.
Good? Okay.
Brain activity is monitored while the subject undergoes a controlled pattern of subtle electromagnetic stimulation. Subjects report experiences remarkably similar to those of people who have survived clinical death.
Jamie? It's important to stay awake. Okay, do not sleep and evaluate your experiences.
Persinger is testing the theory that near-death experiences might actually be physiological rather than spiritual.
The data suggests that these experiences, although they seem real to the person, are generated within the brain. And although they may allow us access to other kinds of stimuli, they are predictable phenomena that do not require even the existence of an afterlife to be explained.
Thus far, no one is drawing any conclusions from his data, but Persinger believes he has come up with a model that he and other scientists may use for future investigation of the near-death experience. It just may be the starting point to solving this riddle.
I'll just put it right here. You felt detached from your body.
Yeah, I did.
Describe it.
Well, it was kind of like, not as if I'd left my body, like I was kind of still there, but other parts, I was kind of floating someplace else too at the same time. It's strange.
It says you felt the presence of something.
Yeah, it seemed like there'd be somebody in here. I don't know why, but there seemed like there was somebody here, even though I know there wasn't.
The concept of the afterlife, or the infinite, is present throughout human cultures, though science has failed to discover why. Persinger believes it evolved to help humans grapple with what happens when the body dies.
We can conceptualize the infinite, but we also can anticipate that we as individuals have an end. That, of course, produces tremendous anxiety. And so anything that will reduce anxiety will allow the sense of self to survive. Religious beliefs are very effective ways. But for those who are secular, the paranormal becomes a very appropriate substitute.
Paranormal phenomena and religious rites may simply be the human coping mechanism, helping us survive in a world where questions about life and death remain unanswered.
As a believer in astrology once told me, well, it works for me. It works for me. And I think it works for me as a powerful testimony for that individual. All of my scientific testing may not do much good to the person who was cured from some terminal illness because she or he performed some kind of magical ceremony. We have to be prepared to imagine that we can live in a world where something does work for you.
Here at this church in Virginia, the parishioners have found something that works for them.
Good evening. Let us open tonight's service by turning to hymn number 211.
It is a Christian form of worship with several notable differences.
And the first principle is we believe in infinite intelligence.
Reed Brown talks to dead people,
right on to say
and they talk back.
Yes, I think that would be the case. However, we don't consider them dead. We consider them still alive. Period. So that understanding of having spiritual existence is going to be, some people would think, a little weird and really of the quote-unquote paranormal. Because I want to stay over in this area. I'm being impressed with the name of Ida. Ida. Would this be like a mother's vibration that's coming into you? All right, because I feel like the message is, I know where I am, I'm in the light. Who's Dorothy?
Though Brown is more minister than psychic, his service includes messages delivered from the deceased.
That is going to... Who's Lauren? There's a lot of good doors opening for you also. You've got a lot of... We believe in infinite intelligence, which means we do not accept a personified God sitting on a throne with a long gray beard and a book in his hand. We believe that God is that cosmic consciousness in the universe. And I feel a lot of love and touching right next to you also as well. Who's Butch? Say it's a beautiful day. Yes, your brother. All right. He's saying something about his hair. Yes, and there's a man with him, and he tells me he's your father. They're together, and they're so happy for you. And he said, I had my hair cut just for you. You understand? And I feel a tremendous energy blessing you from the world of spirit tonight. God bless you.
This religion provides comfort and may answer the big question.
All right. There's one thing that's imminent. Death. We're all going to die. And one of the most wonderful things to be able to know is the fact that there's life after death. And so there's going to be this tremendous interest, there always has been, there always will be, of can we communicate? Can we understand that there is a spiritual energy after this life, that you know, this is not me. You don't see me here today, you see my body. You see the vehicle that I'm in. I had a Sunday school class many years
Scientists would consider opinions like those expressed by Reed Brown dubious.
Coming in there to you, but you're going to be all right. That's the message to you. You're going to be all right, is what I hear Spirit saying to you. God bless you. Friends, I thank you for the opportunity of serving, and we thank all of you.
Fact or farce? The gulf between skeptics and believers remains vast.
We will forever have a frontier that will be blazing, and we and the paranormalists will be fighting with our swords as we go out onto that frontier, and there'll never be an end to it. I think there will always be this curiosity.
Over time, that curiosity has led humans around the world to create a myriad of mystical beliefs.
And this is what we see about all of the other cultures of the world for all time. They had those participatory cosmologies in which one conducted rituals and rites to communicate with these forces which they believed existed.
Today, in cultures dominated by a more rational view, countless people still embrace the magical ways of old. Korea is a perfect example of that schism.
The shamans empathize with our pains and sorrows and tell us about our ancestors, past lives, past experience and fate. That's something beyond scientific advice.
Seoul, South Korea is a place where the ancient reigns amidst the modern. Standing above the urban sprawl is a place that answers to the call of an era long past. Mount Inwangsan, home to the Mudang, the shamans of Korea. Known to some as witch doctors, shamans can be found in cultures worldwide. They are healers who commune with the spirit world. Korean shamans are revered and feared, serving in a world where, in the Western view, religion and paranormal come together. Shamans perform social functions, exorcism for one. If you are having a run of bad luck or a haunting, you go to a mudang and you get it fixed. It is that simple. The shamans have regular clients who visit them for all manner of reasons. In this particular ritual, or kut, the elder shaman has been asked by her apprentice to learn what the gods wish of her in order to further her training.
I am like a normal person. But occasionally my instinct tells me that this person will do this and do that. I think that differentiates me from normal people.
Capping off the ceremony is the warrior kut. The shaman invokes the spirit of a long-dead general and climbs atop the blades of 2 ceremonial knives.
When I dance and perform kut, someone else has control over my voice. And then I know the gods are here with me. Then I don't get scared anymore.
Speaking in the divine cadence of the general, she is an oracle, exorcising evil spirits, imparting wisdom, helping the client avoid future misfortune. It has been so for millennia, and shamans are found throughout South Korea.
Don't try to analyze why. If the gods tell us to do it, we have no choice. It is the God's will, and no human can make me do this. Do you think I do this because I want to? That's not how it works.
Being a mudang is a career. Apprentices train for years to be able to interpret their God's will. The healing ability of the shaman is legend.
The reason I came here today is that my only sister has been suffering from terminal cancer. Doctors told us she has less than 3 months to live.
In a ceremony that lasts a full day and costs thousands of dollars, the shaman is possessed by deities, gods, and spirits of the client's ancestors. There is a theatrical nature to the ceremonies. Several costume changes take place during the ritual, each robe having been dedicated to a particular spirit.
점심시간 전에는 아주 많은 신들의 모습으로 와서 Before lunch, many gods came here and gave me hope. 점심 후에는 After lunch, our deceased ancestors came through the shaman Li Young-Yi's body. 늘 씌운 상태로 왔습니다. 그래서 So our great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, and grandmother, and also my brother who died young, showed up. 저희 어린 동생이 어렸을 때 죽었는데 그 동생의 모습으로 왔었고 그랬을 때 저는 I accepted the shaman as those spirits, as a state of reincarnation, rather than the shaman himself. 그 리인카네이트에 있는 상태로 그분을 인정하고 받아들인 것.
When an individual hears the voices calling them to serve as a shaman, families react with dread, shame, and anger.
물론 반대하죠. 식구들이.
Of course they are against it. Families oppose and forbid, but they should be supportive of the person without any resistance. And also the reason they can't resist is that misfortune frequently occurs in the household. When one first shows the signs to be a mudang, people curse at the person. Kill yourself if you're going to be a mudang. But when they realize it's inevitable, they give up and become supportive.
포기하다가 나중엔 할 수 없이 이제 협력해주는 거죠.
Her husband cast out this mudang when she displayed her powers of divination.
Since I was chosen by the gods, it was my fate to be a mudang. Also, I couldn't help foreseeing other people's future and talking about it. If my friend said something, I used to say, "Your father will die soon," or "Your baby is going to be a girl again," and then people called me a mudang.
Comments like that would lead many to categorize the mudang as purely paranormal. Korean shamanism is an ancient folk religion practiced for as long as people have lived on this land. In recent times, shamanism suffered as the elite class began to view it as merely superstition. While many in Korea hold that view today, the mudang thrive.
한국의 그 무속은
Shamanism remains as a custom peculiar to the Korean people and deeply influences Koreans' everyday life.
삶에 깊은 그 영향을 미치고 있습니다.
Because of lingering prejudice in the eyes of some, a visit to a shaman can be shameful, scandalous even. Terrifying tales of their powers abound.
If one of your family members turned out to be a mudang 20 to 30 years ago, that would have been a very embarrassing thing.
While incorporating aspects of religion and what some would view as paranormal beliefs, the ancient practice of the mudang thrive in a land now dominated by Christianity, Buddhism, and capitalism.
물질적으로 풍요하고 기술이 진보된 사회에서도
in spite of materialistic prosperity and technological progress,
마음의 불안,
humans still search for an ultimate answer
겪게 될 때 사람들은
to anxiety and uncertainty of life.
현실로부터 도망치고자 하는
Korean shamanism is a melange of religion, spiritual healing, possession, and divination. One culture's means for addressing a universally human pursuit, the unknown.
As long as there is the sky, the land, the mountains, and the rivers, our shamanism will be here and preserved in this country.
The eternal quality of the shamans of Korea is just one demonstration of the human connection to our universe. There are others who keep alive the ways of the ancients all over the world. In Korea, if you believe a shaman will cure you, you visit a mudang. Elsewhere, if you believe a man with a forked stick will help you find a husband, you call a dowser.
How far away is that from here? Right in the middle of the road.
The ancient art of dowsing dates back to Moses when he brought forth water from rock. In agrarian cultures, the person able to find water served a critical role. In the modern age, dowsing became a curiosity as it slipped into the realm of the paranormal.
In rural sections of America, there is a firm belief in the magic wand used by the dowser.
To the surprise of many, dowsers continue to ply their mysterious trade.
Dowser of subterranean water by dipping.
Used to be that they expected a dowser to be an old geezer with a beard who came to you with a pair of bib overhauls, and he drove up in a dirty pickup truck and using a wooden fork stick. He sweat blood to find this magical substance called water.
Leroy Bull goes out to search for 3 or 4 water wells a month. He claims to have found nearly 400 by now.
That's what dowsers are all about. What are our parameters here? How much light do we have? Which direction do we go? How far?
In the new age, the dowser has found a thirsty audience.
We have to be 100 feet away from that area with a well.
For those who believe in the arts, no proof is necessary, and for those who don't believe, no proof is sufficient. There's no way that you can prove to a person who's stuck in the scientific world how that this works.
He stands at the edge of the field, readies his divining rod, and makes a request.
Okay. Best water well site available on this property that's outside of the septic fields and so forth is that direction right there.
When the rod dips to the ground, Bull has found water. At that point, he searches for the best place to dig.
Which direction from here is the best water well site for this property? That's about 6-8 feet in front of us. We have from the surface of the earth to the top of this vein is at less than 20, 40, 60.
The process takes little more than 30 minutes from the time he steps out of his car to the time he has marked the spot to dig.
20, 40, it's about 340 feet. Does the water in both of these veins smell good and taste good? Yes. Does the water in both of these veins pass EPA standards? Yes. Then now we'll walk just a little bit and make solid of where these things are.
Water dowsing, says Bull, is merely the start of something bigger.
Dowsing in its purest sense is feeling Mother Nature and what's going on underneath the soil, or underneath the ground, or underneath the water. Okay. Anything you can think of that you'd like to know from the land?
No, I think you answered all the questions that I had.
Okay, we're done. Your ability to sense is not just limited to Mother Nature. So if you want to be open and feel if something is going to be good or bad in your future, you can practice being open and understand.
It became my belief system. I could not deny that that was real. That became my reality. Okay, guys, let's see what is going to be good for us today, all right?
Dowsing is now used to search for all kinds of things, not just water or minerals.
You start with food, see what foods you're going to need today, and Tass, you see what protein.
Modern dowsers are searching for most anything you could imagine, from the material to the mundane.
I need chicken, egg, and fish.
Okay, good. Once you know that it's a system of gaining information that benefits you or whomever you're dowsing for, then whatever you can frame in a yes or no question, you can dowse about. How about, let's see, Eli, see what vitamins you need, okay?
Sally uses her pendulum constantly. She will, for example, dowse to determine the best way to schedule her day.
Seeds and nuts, okay. And I need to get a massage.
regimens, remedies, and dinners will be planned by queries posed to the pendulum.
Okay? Now we need to find out how many drops would be right for you. Does Taos need, for the most benefit, more than 10, more than 15, 16, 17? I'm going to give you 18 drops of wild child today, okay? I might douse if I have enough time to accomplish a certain task. Get down to the store and back before the school bus comes home. Morning, honey.
A fellow dowser actually helped find her a husband.
He had told me that if I moved to a certain location, that I would meet my future husband. And I did do that, and I doused for the date when I would meet my husband, and sure enough, he came on a trip to that town and met me in the place where I worked, and we took it from there. My children have been dowsers since day one, and we used it in our daily lives. They have been taught to douse with the various tools as they got older, and eventually they learned how to douse without tools.
Easy to sight a well.
Meaning that her children are, Sally believes, able to intuit where the water is to be found, or energy fields are located, without the aid of rods or sticks.
I could live without it.
That's right.
But I don't think my life would go as smoothly. I know that what I'm choosing, even if it doesn't look good to me on the surface, I know that in the broader plan, it is right for me.
There is in all of us a quest for the exotic, a quest to feel the exotic.
Is there one you like? Yeah.
And maybe it comes from our existence in the humdrum plane.
Oh, yeah.
Our way of existence is so regimented, so timed by the clock, so predictable, that our imagination wants to separate itself from the rational side of our mind. And I think it's this quest for the exotic that will always motivate us to think about the paranormal, even if we don't practice it.
It is that quest for the exotic that draws certain people to tales of the supernatural, occult, and extraterrestrials. Ted Michaels makes movies. The paranormal is his beat.
Rolling, and it is action.
He hasn't won any Oscars yet, but he knows his audience.
We're reaching specifically to grasp the attention and the minds of the people who enjoy thinking that ghosts are real or that people from outer space are amongst us.
These are definitely not your typical made-for-Hollywood pictures.
This is Mara, evil incarnate, high priestess to Satan, queen of the Black Witches.
While exploiting the human fascination with the unknown, Michaels makes the paranormal his playground.
Blood orgy of the she-devils.
This genre of film has existed for as long as there have been movies made. While Michaels admits that this is not serious filmmaking, he recognizes that these sorts of films have a consistent popularity in cultures around the world, be it entertainment, escapism, or just plain odd.
I'm not here to frighten you.
It's a ghost.
I think that they're probably more unusual. It's not your usual fare of TV stories that seem to be so repetitive. And you can be more creative with something paranormal because no one really knows what the paranormal consists of. Well, we've got a number of things here. This is the evil aliens controller, and with this little controlling device that sends signals through cyberspace to tell, it's like an email to the astro zombies, tells them to go out and quack people. Of course, this is the light that we use to activate the photocells in the head of the astro zombies. This is the brain extractor. This extracts the memory. When it's put on the head of the intelligent people, it takes out their memory and puts it into a protective bank so that other people can use their intelligence.
Save yourself! Save yourself!
I think that they like to be apprehensive of their own future. They like to be frightened a little bit, but horror is something different. And so the paranormal allows them to escape from the fear and the fright they would get from, say, a bloody horror film. It allows them to think for themselves, could this be possible?
Evil aliens from a giant asteroid create robot-like zombies in an effort to colonize and control Earth's populations.
Is it possible there are other creatures similar to me but yet different that could be in communication in some form? I think they like to explore those ideas.
Should I put a little blood on it first? I should put some on the outside. Just a second.
Have we got an extended tube?
Yep, we sure do.
Look at you bleed, my God.
I think this is really all about coping with a universe in which it's hard to live. I think there's a psychological dimension missing in science. Science doesn't psychologically satisfy us. It doesn't appeal to our human needs.
So if ghosts, aliens, and other phenomena are simply human coping mechanisms, then Ted Michaels, a practitioner of the paranormal, functions similarly to a psychic, a shaman, or a ghost hunter. The only difference being his audience is willing to be entertained.
Murder, mayhem, and bloodshed on every street corner.
I like to think that what we do is really no different than the ghost hunters because, well, the only difference is we're making a theatrical presentation out of it.
The producer warns viewers against indulging or experimenting in occultism or the psychic sciences without professional advice.
Is there anybody else coming forward?
Which brings us back to Archie Laurie, Scotland's intrepid ghost hunter, who has little time for fictitious tales.
Quite frankly, the world of reality is every bit as exciting as the world of Hollywood.
At this castle in Scotland, a terrifying reality crashed down on Tracy Livingstone.
It was scary, very scary. But we didn't actually see anything, but that's probably because I had my eyes shut. But if I had my eyes open, I don't know what I would have seen. Especially given it ammunition. I mean, I was asking it, can I help you? Is there something I can do? It was as if it was something trying to make contact.
Her curiosity overpowered her fear, and she asked Archie and his team to see what they might discover.
We got a lot of very interesting information there.
I was hoping that somebody would come up here and say, you're not insane, there is something in this room.
So what did Archie Laurie find in his long night's journey into the paranormal? Did Archie find evidence to confirm that this castle is haunted? While staking out a room in the castle, the psychic Francis conversed with the ghost of the former owner.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sure there's something that you could do to show us that you listened.
Then she and Archie heard a series of strange knocks.
I think we got 3 taps from... Do you think so, Francis? We got 3 taps from Mr. Mayor?
We'll play that for you again.
Sit.
There is no way to prove to the satisfaction of the watching world that Archie and his mates detected anything that would confirm the presence of ghosts, but no one can disprove it either. If when this program began you were a believer or a skeptic, your opinion likely remains the same.
There was nothing dramatic. There was no ghosts appeared in the middle of the room. There was no piece of china flew across the room. But we uncovered an awful lot of really good and interesting domestic history from this castle.
A lot of energy, a lot of what we call spirit energy. Obviously, I feel maybe through time I've been trying to make people aware that they are here.
What the believer and the naysayer can agree on is that things considered paranormal exist outside the boundary of modern science, eluding the human grasp.
The psychic world has been a mystery ever since time began, and the only way that anybody's going to move towards solving that mystery is to deal with it in a logical and scientific way. It's not enough just to tell ghost stories, to hand ghost stories down from father to son. You've got to, at some point, stop and analyze.
If something is really true, no amount of challenge will ever change it. If anything, science will support your ideas. It will support the beliefs. And most of us want to know what's really there, what's really true.
What is paranormal in the eyes of science is perfectly normal in the eye of the individual. Paranormal, it seems, is like beauty. It is in the eye of the beholder.